A child who is raised in a poor home knows the value of hard work and the contentment that it brings. The only entitlement that he thinks of is the one he earns. He knows his shortcomings and acknowledges them without pointing fingers elsewhere. Although this varies due to differences in parenting, it can be said to be the case in most instances. Like I stated earlier, the rich kid always gets what they want. They don't know the feeling that comes with rejection, and when they eventually get rejected or fail to get their way, it always affects them more profoundly than their less wealthy peers. They're usually unprepared for not getting their way, unlike their poorer counterparts who build their success stories from the rejections they get. Rejections and entitlement do not go hand in hand, but you need to be rejected at some point in life to get the right to be entitled. A rich father who gives his children all they want should not complain when they grow up feeling that they are entitled to all he has, when he brought them up to be that way. Entitlement has its advantages. It gives a child an air of confidence, hope, and satisfaction. On the other hand, if not properly managed, a sense of entitlement could make the child lazy, and he may not know the values of what he desires because he feels he is entitled to them to begin with. 2. Low sense of accomplishment. We tend to value the opportunities we create, especially when they are limited. A string of accomplishments, triumph over odds, and wins gives a person greater confidence to face life and do more. A rich kid, with everything handed down to him, often loses out on this sense of accomplishment. After all, he doesn't have to fight to make a name for himself. He already has one. They're less likely to feel good about themselves, and this could lead to self-esteem issues. Children born into wealth will always have a point to prove, not just to their parents, but to society at large. While this might be a proper motivating factor to spur one towards success, it can also be catastrophic if not handled properly, especially when the expectations are really high. In such cases, the fear of not wanting to fail becomes more dominant than the fear of succeeding. One little mistake can bring a whole empire crashing down. The thought of this alone can cause an absolute panic that often leads to depression and substance abuse. When we try to meet up with expectations that we have not set individually, we tend to stutter along the way. The expectations on the shoulder of a child born into wealth are one that the child born into poverty does not have to endure. He has nothing to lose, and as such will have a clearer mind and a sense of responsibility to succeed. People look up to him to be a success, and not hoping he doesn't fail. Anyone would do better in an atmosphere that breeds hope than in one that breeds fear. The child born into wealth and affluence will always feel the need to be a success at what he does. He doesn't have the privilege or the luxury of failing and learning from his mistakes, because in most cases, a lot is expected of him. This pressure to avoid failing at all costs often leads them to act irrationally, especially when challenges arise. They may then seek escape with substance abuse or suffer other psychological issues, and possibly hurt themselves and others around them. 1. Less independence. Children from a wealthy background have almost limitless opportunities. Their names alone could unlock doors the average person might fight their entire lives just to open a crack. This alone can set the ball rolling even before it is ever kicked. However, the downside to this is that kids of wealthy parents may probably never know what it feels like to be genuinely independent. In most cases, their paths are already chosen for them. Wealthy parents who own a telecom company would want their children running the show in the future. Now, what if the kids have no interest in the company whatsoever? What becomes of their own aspirations? What if all they wanted was to be a professional photographer or an auto mechanic? While the child of the poor has the luxury of shaping its future without much interference from parents who are always grinding trying to make ends meet, the children of the rich tend to have vital life decisions influenced by overbearing parents. So, in most cases, opportunities for children of wealthy parentage are mostly the ones presented to them by their parents. They hardly have much say in determining their future. I hope you have a rethink after knowing that you won't be benefiting from his will after all. So, I would suggest we go for another billionaire. Maybe Jeff Bezos? Thank you guys so much for watching.